to Business 201, Fall of 20, Principles of Marketing, Chapter number 1. You can normally figure that Chapter 1s of any textbook or any course is a really big stuff is in there. You know, we'll probably define what marketing is and do some things like that in here. So really some big stuff that we've got to kind of learn and understand. Now, if for some reason you're watching this video, and I'm really glad you are, but you didn't watch the introductory video, you need to go back and do that. These videos will be a lot better for you if you watch the introductory video, how we're going to do the course in the class, and how I do tests, and how I do my presentations on each one of the chapters. So make sure, if you haven't done so, go back and watch the introductory video. Okay, I've got my study notes for Chapter 1. I've got my chair, probably sit down in here a little bit as we talk about it. And I had this up here last time. I'm going to erase the stuff that we're talking about as far as the test is concerned. And I'm going to do it this way. This will be, this of course is a seller, a business. This is you. Because all of us are buyers, all of us are customers. Is business big in the world? Is business big in America? If you had Business 101 with me, I probably made the statement at some point that what if tomorrow all businesses were gone? Gosh, we'd digress 200 years in time, wouldn't we? We'd be trapping and farming and doing all that kind of stuff. We have just, unfortunately, this COVID-19 has really shown us when you have a steep decline in the economy and businesses are not able to operate as they normally have and that sort of thing, how devastating it is on our economy, how devastating it is on our businesses, and how tough it is on us as individuals. And I will say this, I mean, some people have really suffered as a result of this, you know, and I just pray that this gets better pretty soon. And people can return back to, we can return back to some normal. I'm not sure normal will ever be exactly as it was before, but more like what we think of when we think of normal. So business is big. All right, principles of marketing. Marketing as it relates to business. Is marketing a big part of business? Well, I got my chapter here. Chapter 1, and I was just looking at some of the things that he says here in Chapter 1. And this is free. Don't get to writing. There are more than 308 million consumers. That's us living in 110 million households, spending over $5 trillion on products. Wow. Companies now spend over $1 trillion globally on marketing activities. He goes on and says some more stuff here. Retail salespeople and cashiers make up nearly 6% of the total U.S. employment at 7.8 million. More than 30 million Americans work directly within the marketing system, with salespeople accounting for the largest segment. There are almost 20 million business-to-business buyers. This is where one business is buying from another business. Marketing is a major contributor to jobs in the United States and throughout the world. I mean, there's a lot of folks that are directly involved in marketing. The people that are actually doing the selling. Think about walking into a big store, walking into a Walmart or something. You've got people, the cashiers, the people that are selling. You've got the people that are stocking. You've got people that are doing advertising. You've got people that are bringing the products to the different stores and everything. A tremendous number of people are engaged in the marketing activities of business. And like I say, some of those, you know, some people have a real creative side. We've had students that have a really creative side. And what I really encourage students that are not only business oriented but creative, what I encourage them to do, You might want to own your own business, having that kind of creativity, or you might want to go into advertising or design or something in the area of computers as it really, social media is the new world of marketing. And so there's so many things in there for people in the world of marketing that have technology experience, that have creativity, that sort of thing, and people skills. Okay, so marketing is big stuff, big stuff. Let's define what marketing is. That's going to be a no item. Now, this is the first thing in chapter 1 that you need to perk your ears up. That's a no. That's pretty important stuff. Now, what I did for you on your study notes, I put the definition, but I only put a part of the definition. I didn't do the full definition. But I copied the definition. I copied page 5 out of your book and attached that to your study notes. If you have them with you, you already know that. And it gives you the definition of marketing. Marketing is the activity. So it's an ongoing thing. It's an activity. A set of institutions. There are people, there are businesses, there are companies, there are institutions that are engaged in marketing. And processes. Okay, so it's an activity, a set of institutions, and processes. Processes, processing, what does that mean? Processes for creating, communicating, delivering, and exchanging offerings that have value for customers, clients, partners, and society at large. You'd probably want to know that definition. But I want to, and I'm not going to beat it to death, but I do want to take another minute or so. It's an activity, and it's companies, it's businesses, it's institutions. And what do? They create, they communicate, they deliver, and they exchange offerings. And these offerings have values to customers, clients, partners, and society at large. So I want you to know the definition. Now, the next part, if you have the book, I kind of lifted out of what he said in the book, and I did this little thing here. The objective of marketing. What is the objective? Because remember, marketers are the ones that interact with us, the customers. And so I put this down here. I think this is pretty good. The objective of marketing is to satisfy the needs, wants, and demands of customers by providing value, quality, and satisfaction. What do you think? I mean, that makes sense. I know that's a bunch of words, but what is marketing trying to do? They're trying to be successful. They're trying to. Oh, and let's do this right now. I have that right up above it, but let me throw it up here now and just put it on here. So what comes at the heart of marketing? The heart of marketing is an exchange. Okay? What do sellers and businesses have? They got products, right? Or I guess we could call them goods, but let's just call them products. What have we got? Money! So what's happening here with marketing, that definition, what's really the exchange is at the heart of marketing. Marketers within a business organization are trying to bring about an exchange by exchanging their products for money. And that's why, and again, go back for just a second, the last part of that definition of marketing and exchanging offerings that have value for customers, clients, partners, and society at large. There's value in product and there's value in money. So we're trying to bring about an exchange. Okay, so I would be familiar with the fact that the heart of marketing is an exchange of products for money. Now let's get back to this, the objective of marketing. What are needs? Needs are basic human requirements. If you don't have a textbook, write that down. Needs are basic human requirements. Needs become wants when they're directed at a particular product. What do you mean? I need a car. I want a Toyota. The need is a car, but that need, when it moves to a particular product, I have a need, and to satisfy the need, I want a Toyota. Demands is when you have the ability to buy. So I want you to be familiar with those three words. Now let me do it for you one more time. Sometimes in my handout, I'll have everything written down for you, but you have to remember that it's hard to put on a sheet or two of paper 20, 25, 30 pages in a chapter. But just be familiar with this. Needs are basic human requirements, and needs become wants when they're directed at a particular product. And wants become demands when you have the ability to buy. Okay. I think I have a need for a vehicle, and I want a Lamborghini. I really don't. Let's just make this up. Okay. But there's not going to ever be a demand there because I'm not going to have the ability to buy. Okay, so what we're trying to do, be familiar with that needs, wants, and demands. So marketers are trying to satisfy needs, wants, and demands by doing what? Giving us value, quality, and satisfaction. Okay. Oh, I see something else as I was going through here. I said that when we talked about the definition of marketing here, I said it's almost as important, or something that's almost as important as marketing is the term or the word markets. What are markets? Markets are all of the actual or potential customers for the product. All of the actual or potential customers, all of the actual or potential customers for the products of a company. Okay. So far, just to get you warmed up here in chapter 1, I want you to know the definition of marketing. I want you to be familiar with that an exchange is at the heart of marketing. I want you to be familiar with what markets are, all the actual or potential customers of a company's products. And I want you to be familiar with what needs and wants and demands are. All right. Then we said that marketers try to satisfy our needs and wants and demands by giving us value, quality, and satisfaction. Okay, what do they use to give us value, quality, and satisfaction? They use goods and services and ideas and experiences. Now, if you take goods, services, ideas, and experiences and you wrap them all together, we call them products. Is that okay? Does that make sense? A trip to somewhere you really would like to go, Hawaii, an experience. A service, car wash. A good, that car we were talking about. So just be familiar with that goods, services, ideas, and experiences, that marketers lump all those together and call them products. All right. And so I'm going to do that. Whenever I'm talking about a product, I'm really talking about there are different types of products. There are products that are services. There are products that are ideas. There are products that are goods. You understand? Okay. Now, let's take this marketer, and I think I want to approach this way. And if we were in the actual class together, I would draw for you, and I guess I'll do it here real quickly. I would draw for you this right here, and I would tell you what a great artist I am. But you already know that by my stick figures. And I would say, hey, what is that? And people would give different guesses and everything, and they'd say, well, it looks like a lunchbox to me, or it looks like this, or it looks like that. And sooner or later, somebody is going to come up with, it's a toolbox. And I'll say, you know, you're right. That is a toolbox. I'm going to go behind the camera just to make sure that my toolbox is, yes, is where you can see it. Okay. So let's do this. If you were a carpenter, what would you have in your toolbox? Hammer, saw, screwdriver, T-square, nails. Okay, you get the idea. There are certain things that a carpenter has to have in their toolbox to be able to effectively be a carpenter, to be able to do carpentry type work. Now, I know you may be thinking, okay, how did we get out of marketing and now we're talking about carpenters? Well, my dad was a carpenter, so I like carpenters. But in addition to that, it kind of leads us into something that I want us to chat about here for a minute, and that would be, what does a marketer have in their toolbox? What do they have to bring about an exchange? What's one thing you know they have? If a marketer who does within a company, if a marketer is going to bring about an exchange with a customer, what's one thing they got to have first? Some of y'all better be saying a product. Okay. So in our toolbox here, we would have to put, and I'll just put it up here where you can see it, we would have to have a product or products. They would have to have a product or products. Okay? Now also, to bring about an exchange, they've got to do something with that product. That doesn't help very much. My GMC truck that I have, if you said, hey, would you sell that truck? I'd say, I don't want to, I like it, but always possibility I might sell it. You'd say, well, Professor Lane, what do you want for that? I'd say, well, I need 300 bales of hay. I need 5 horses, 100 head of cattle, 6 watermelons. You see where I'm going here? That's not what I would say, is it? And if I said that, you'd think that guy's off his rocker. I'd say I want so much. So if I'm going to bring about so much expressed in monetary terms, so if we're going to bring about an exchange, a marketer has to have a product, but what does he have to put on that product? A price. A lot of these products that you see in stores, if you go to a convenience store, what's the chance of finding a package of M&Ms in there? Like 100%? Okay. Did those M&Ms grow up in that convenience store? Were they manufactured there? Now, I know I'm being silly. But the point, of course, I'm making here is that all these products that these companies have, they have to get these products to where the consumer can buy them, right? Now, if I wanted to buy a Jaguar, a brand new Jaguar. I can't buy a brand new Jaguar in Monroe, Louisiana. They don't sell brand new Jaguars. Would I be willing to drive to Shreveport or Jackson? Sure. If I wanted that package of M&Ms, am I going to drive to Jackson? I expect that package of M&Ms to be really close. So some products I'd go a little further for than I would others, but marketers have to make sure to be able to sell that product, they've got to get that product in the right place. Do you see a trend here? Product, price, place, and we've got to know about their product. We've got to know where it is. We've got to know how much it is. We've got to know why it is that we need that product. We've got to know all. So what they've got to do, if they're going to sell that product, they've got to make sure that they let us know how much good that product is going to do for us. They've got to promote. Promotion. Now, this is called the marketing mix, or the 4 P's of marketing. You need to know those. You need to know those. Those are the 4 things that a marketer has in their toolbox to try to bring about an exchange. They have a product. They have that product priced at an amount they think that they can bring about an exchange. They have that product in the right place, and they go about doing effective promotion. Those are the 4 P's of marketing, or the marketing mix. I would know them. I'd be able to say a few words about each one of them. Not too hard, huh? Okay. Okay. So that's the 4 P's of marketing. And I have them on your handout. The way I've got my handout, the front part, when we talked about goods, services, ideas, and experiences, I want you to be familiar that those 4 together are called products. And then on the back side, that was to be familiar with. But on the back side, products, I want you to be familiar that product, price, it has to have a price. You have to state the value. You have to place it in the proper place, and you have to promote it. That's the 4 P's of marketing. And I want you to know those 4 P's. Okay? Now, he talks a little bit here about marketing philosophies. I'm not going to really get too much into that. If you have your study notes with you, when he talks about the production concept, what kind of philosophies do you have when it relates to marketing? When he talks about the production concept, he's producing the product. The product concept would be about the product itself. The selling concept would be about selling. The marketing concept, now that's kind of interesting. Societal marketing concept. So there are different philosophies about marketing, kind of like what's first, what's most important. What sort of philosophy should I have to be able to bring about this exchange? Okay. But what I do want us to talk about for a few minutes, I want us to talk about the history of these marketing philosophies. Okay? The history of these marketing philosophies. In the beginning, and I did them on a little timeline for you here, there was the production era, the sales era, and the marketing era. Now there's the marketing concept, a societal marketing concept era. I'm really not going to talk much about that one. I just want to talk about these first 3. In the late 1800s and the early 1900s in America, here's the situation. When companies produced a product, there was a lot of demand because people had not been able to get those products mass produced before. Let's take Henry Ford's Model T. I think the T came before the A, may be wrong. Whenever a Model T came off the showroom floor, the production line, as soon as it was produced, what happened? It would sell. It would sell. So in the late 1800s, early 1900s, it was all about producing the product. And the reason for that in the production era is that demand was greater than supply. Boy, don't businesses love that? When there's more demand for their product than they've got supply. pandemic here lately, you know what's happened with toilet tissue? It's finally where we kind of got toilet tissue back on most of the shelves now. But wasn't it crazy, the shortage? The demand was so much greater than supply. Now wipes, like Lysol wipes, things you can wipe stuff down with, you can't hardly find those. Demand is greater than supply. So in the late 1800s, early 1900s, we were in a production era. It was all about producing the product, because if you produced it, you could sell it. Then, when you hit about the 1920s and 1930s, companies got really good at producing products. Not only, and they got really good at it, plus people began to get more and more of those products. And so they didn't need those products. The demand was not as great, and yet they were turning those products out probably faster than ever. All of a sudden, supply was greater than demand. And so it was all about selling. It was the sales era. In the 1920s, 1930s, mostly maybe 30s and 40s, it was all about selling the product, because they had more product and they had demand for the product, because people already had a lot of that product and the company kept churning that product out. So that was the selling era. And somewhere around about 1950, some poor salesperson came home after a hard day and said, "Man, I'm dying. I sell a product, I sell one, and I got two more to sell, and I try to sell one, and they've already got one, and you know, it's really getting harder and harder to sell these products because people already have the products, and yet we keep producing more and more and more. I really wish somebody would ask the customer what they wanted first." That's a novel idea. So in the production era, marketing in essence started with the product. In the selling era, it really started with sales, and it really wasn't the marketing era exactly. It was the production era and the selling era. But somewhere around about 1950, somebody said, "Let's ask the customer what they want, and then provide for them the products they want." And that was what was called the marketing concept era. I kind of gave it to you here. The marketing concept era says research what the customer needs, wants, and prefers. Then look at what attitudes they have. Then deliver to them the products that they need, want, and prefer, and do it better than your consumer. Than your customer. Brain, do it better than your competition. Okay, that's the marketing concept era. Really important, because that's really when marketing actually started, was when we got into the marketing concept era. The marketing concept assumes that a company can compete more effectively if it first researches customers' needs, wants, preferences, and attitudes towards specific products and brands. With this knowledge of the consumer, the firm is able to deliver the goods and services that consumers want more effectively and efficiently than the competition. Marketing concept era. Find out what it is that the customer wants and needs, and their attitudes about that particular product and that particular want or need, and then deliver that to them, and deliver it more efficiently and effectively than your competition. That's the marketing concept era. And that's the era that was in about 1950. Now, I want you to know those three are the history of marketing philosophies, I'll put it that way. If I happen to ask you, since it's a no, I want you to talk about the three eras of marketing. I may do it that way, just like I have it on your sheet here. The production era, I want you to be able to talk to me a little bit, write that down, talk to me a little bit about that. The sales era, and then the marketing concept era. That's when marketing really was born, the marketing era. Because that's when, for the first time, instead of starting with product, what did they start with? The customer, the consumer. So that's when marketing really happened. Now, the societal marketing concept, I'll just throw this in for you. I want you to know those three eras we've talked about. But just to let you know what the societal marketing concept is, the societal marketing concept is just simply the marketing concept, but it says do those things and at the same time better society. Do things to help society as well. The marketing, societal marketing concept, it's the marketing concept plus do what you can to maximize society's well-being. Do the marketing concept, but also, since you're a part of our society, do things to improve the well-being of our society as well. That's what that is. Right at the very bottom of this page, left-hand side, he says, avoid marketing myopia. That means don't ever go back and start concentrating on the product or production or things like that. Don't ignore specific markets. Marketing myopia is when you're ignoring specific markets. There's markets out there and you're not paying any attention. The fastest growing minority in America are Hispanics. By the year 2040 or right around there, maybe 45, they're going to make up 30% of our population. The Hispanic population, with 30% of the population of our United States. If you were a company, do you want to know that? Do you want to make sure that you don't ignore a very large proportion of our population? Marketing myopia. Just be familiar with what that is. Now, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to go back after I finish a chapter and summarize the notes and be familiar with, except for this one chapter, just to make sure you have a feel for how I do this. In chapter 1, I want you to know the definition of marketing. I want you to be familiar with what markets are, all the actual and potential customers of a company's products. I want you to be familiar that at the heart of marketing is an exchange. I want you to be familiar with what needs are, and that needs aimed at a particular product become wants. And when you have the ability to take that want and actually be able to purchase it, it becomes a demand. I want you to be familiar with that. I want you to be familiar with the fact that products are goods and services and ideas and experiences. We just lump all those four things together and we call them products. I want you to know the marketing mix. I want you to know product, price, place, promotion are the four things that marketers use to bring about an exchange. Those are things they have control over. So I want you to know the marketing mix. I want you to be able to list them, maybe write a little something about each one. Also, your mini assignment number 1 that you probably have already, or you'll be doing here before very long, is simply having to do with writing a definition of the marketing concept as you understand it and saying a little something about each one of the 4 P's. So when you get to mini assignment number 1, that just kind of reinforces this. I want you to know the history of marketing philosophies. I want you to know the production era, kind of the date range, the sales era, and the marketing concept era. And I want you to know what the marketing concept is. And then I want you to be familiar with what marketing myopia is. It's ignoring specific markets. Okay? So that kind of takes care of chapter number 1 for us. You kind of getting a feel for it? Those are big things. Those are big. The definition of marketing, how we got to marketing. We went through the production era, through the sales era, and now we're in the marketing era. And actually in the societal marketing era, but the marketing era. And we know what the marketing concept is. You know the 4 P's of marketing. Okay? I think that does a pretty good job for chapter 1. And so we're going to take a short break here, and I'm not sure when you're going to do chapter 2, but I'm going to take a short break and I'm going to jump in here and talk about chapter 2. Loud clap of the hand lets Professor Pierce know that I have finished a chapter, and so I will do that. See you in chapter 2.